Okay, hello everyone. It's Tuesday, March 9th, 2021.
Your recording go?
Yes, I'm recording.
Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Joe Weston, and here we are for our weekly online global practice for reviving the global heart. And I have to say, deep from my heart, how excited I am to be back. And happy to be here with you all. I've missed you. I really missed you. And I can't tell you how often on Tuesdays when I was in my practice, when first of all, I would be thinking taking you into my practice with me, but just wanting to cheat and maybe get online and just say hello or something. But I'm glad I stayed disciplined and didn't do that. But I did think about you a lot. And I hear that Todd and Tori and others have done a really lovely job of keeping things together. I actually want to do this. This is a ritual that we have with the Weston Network, that when someone offers something, that that part of this work, if this work is about understanding the power of the heart, there's many different components to that. And one component of that is understanding what I call great generosity. And that in itself, that I want to keep emphasizing the transformative power of understanding the power of the heart and coming from that place, and the many facets of that. That I always say it's not just a hallmark cardi kind of a thing. That it's a real palpable force. And part of this work that we're doing with fierce civility, respectful confrontation, reviving the global heart, is understanding how are we standing in the world, how are we showing up, and how are we engaging with others. And that in itself is a practice. If we can take responsibility for that, then we're already doing a tremendous amount for the shift that's happening already, to facilitate the shift that's happening. And part of that is understanding that what is generosity? Generosity is a value of the heart. And I talk about great generosity, the generosity of willing to give of yourself that goes beyond just like, oh, you need something to drink, let me get you a drink. That's being generous. But the idea of great generosity is understanding the power and vulnerability to be able to share of yourself, to be able to take the risk and have the courage to share your gifts, share your wisdom, with not worrying about how it's going to land, not worrying about how it's going to be received. Of course, you don't want to harm others, but simply from that spontaneous sense of, I have something to offer and I want to offer it. And in the practice that we do with all of the work that I do, there's a sense of, if someone is being so generous of offering of themselves, in this context, Todd and Tori, then there's a little ritual I like to do where there's just a moment where people can give feedback. And I'm just wondering if we can just take a moment before I take us into our practice and share some of my thoughts, that maybe a few of you just want to spontaneously just call out, unmute yourself, and just let Todd and Tori know what impact that they had. And the difference between giving a compliment like thank you for, or gratitude, thank you for, but saying, I appreciated this about what you brought to this. So who's willing to practice this courageous generosity and offer Todd and Tori some feedback?
I will. I missed last week, which was sad, but Todd and Tori, I just appreciate the flow that goes between you as you guide and sort of gently hold the rudder while Joe was away. And also I'd like to include Shelley, because I did the 4 pillars. And so it was all intertwined for me. And so all of their leadership coming forward and modeling that for me was wonderful. Really wonderful. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We all take a breath just as a way of just knowing that we receive it. We just train ourselves to breathe in as a way of, again, conscious giving. What are we giving and how are we receiving? So fully everyone breathe that in. Who else?
I wanted to say something. Tori, twice I noticed in the way you guided the core practice that you did a collaborative weaving with what the offering was of the guest speaker. And in both cases, you went into this beautiful middle ground of holding the core of the core practice and meeting what was being offered, meeting the world of the other. And then I think, Joe, in the way you're talking about, without being able to know the outcome, I could feel the risk in it. What's going to happen now when we do this interweaving? So I think you did it really beautifully and with a ton of kind of presence and grace.
Mm-hmm.
Take a breath.
Jeff.
Pop in. Courage. No time to waste.
Yes, I like to say to Todd, you welcome us all individual as if we are the most important guest in your meeting, and you meet us individual and as a group. So I feel we are a group. And the voice of Tori, I'm jealous.
Breath.
Okay. I think they not only they were there for us, they provide this sort of continuity and fluidity. So for us, being here on Tuesday, putting the Zoom and seeing the group is so important, it's so sustainable. And the fact that they were able to keep this continuity and the stability is another plus. And Tori, yes, your voice is amazing. You did a great job. And Todd, you are the glue that kept this thing flowing well. I'm so grateful. Thank you both.
Take a breath. One more.
I'm really grateful for the experimentation of one of these, particularly being a group Dharma unfolding conversation that felt like a beautiful weave of the we knowledge and exploration of each one of us offering different pieces to land and to guide the core exercise. So I'm really grateful for that cohesiveness and collectivity that you invited. So thank you.
Take a breath.
Just to say, you weren't absent.
Oh.
You were with us the whole time. Todd and Tori created an environment where I felt your presence bringing us together and the rhythm being completely the way it always feels. And thank you, Todd and Tori, for making that happen.
Take a breath. Well, thank you. If you have more, then just add it to the chat. We can start a Todd and Tori fan club if we want. I would be the president of the club. I just want to say that, you know, as you can see, I'm such a I'm grateful. I'm a blessed man to have people like Tori and Todd and Shelley in my life, who are doing such tremendous work and have such great support to me and many of the rest of you and what you're creating in this, but particularly Todd, Shelley, and Tori, for the way they love me and care for this work and care for the community we're building. It's beautiful to see. It's beautiful to be witness of and to experience. I'm glad you get a little bit of a taste of them as well. So I just want to say a couple of words. So the retreat was quite profound. It was a month long of 15-hour days of being in practice. And I can't go into it too much, but you were with me a lot. And because this is about understanding the depths of compassion, particularly in this practice, and what love means. And understanding that for me, what I got and learning from me was that there's a difference between doing love and feeling love. And that in terms of feeling, in terms of exuding it to others, and in terms of receiving it. I'm good at doing it. I don't know about the feeling part. So that's been a really tremendous, it was a tremendous learning for me. And that there's power in that as well, the feeling of love, and that there's an energetic force in that. That what this practice is, it just helped me reiterate what we're practicing here and the importance of that. If there's anything, what the world needs now, love, sweet love. Sorry, I had to do it. There's a reason, there's, again, it sounds corny, and there's something palpable in that. Again, what I always say, and what I write about in my book, if just having the data and just using statistics and having facts were going to solve our world problems, we would have already solved them, because we have so much data and facts and information. And that it doesn't discount the facts and the data and the information, but imagine taking that information, taking the resources we have, the technology we have created, that's created a very interdependent world and made it access to many of us or some of us easier. Imagine taking that and adding the power of the heart to that. And that, to me, is the solution for what we're emerging into and what we're letting go of. And I thought about being in this practice of 15 hours a day, and just the aspiration of, in this practice, of having compassion and love for all beings. And I've heard some of you say to me, Joe, this practice, sometimes it's just daunting, this idea of holding all human beings in my heart. We're not even talking about insects and birds and fishes and animals and all the rest. Human beings are a very small fraction, or the planet itself. We're just talking about 7.5 billion people, which is an itsy bitsy bitsy fraction of all of the inhabitants on this planet and the planet itself. And that it is daunting. And what I want to say to that is that this is a practice, and that there's not an expectation that today you can hold all human beings in your heart. But the way I like to see it is that because it's a practice, we're stretching a muscle. Because this idea of, if you really feel like you want to be able to run 10 miles, one strategy is practice running 15. And if you can do 15, then 10 is easy. So it's this idea, practice holding all human beings in your heart, knowing that it may not be possible today. If it is, let's talk. I want to hear how you do it. But but holding that, knowing that holding all human beings in your heart might make it a possibility that today you can increase your heart's capacity to take more people in your heart by one person. And then tomorrow, if you do the practice, add another person. And then it accumulates. So I want to just say to be flexible with that. If you're feeling that it's too daunting to say that it's too much to hold all human beings in my heart, focus on one loved one stranger, one adversary, and see how that feels. And maybe build from there. That's up to you. I don't have to know, unless you want to share it, how you want to practice it. So what I'm saying is, for those of you who are coming back regularly, make this practice your own. As we were seeing, the way Todd and Tori has been leading and how you've been engaging with each other. Make this community your own, make this practice your own, and find your way that's going to best benefit you in that. And because the purpose of the practice ultimately is that you take this out into the world. And that the basic premise of this is for you to be able to monitor in any moment how open your heart is or not. And I want to bring this idea. We've done this before, and I'd like you just to take a moment now to check in. If you were to say, how open is your heart right now, from 0 to 100? 0 being shut, 100 being totally open. And be honest, it's not a quiz. You don't get more points if you score a higher score. And just hold that number in your head. It could be 65, it could be 13. What's important is that you're true to yourself. Because in this, I believe that there's a direct correlation between how open your heart is and how safe you feel in any given moment. And in the work that we're doing of reviving the global heart, being out in the world to engage others in their hearts, to engage from an open heart, meet people where they are. A fundamental premise of that is you establishing for yourself your own sense of safety, emotional safety, psychological safety, and physical safety. And that the more you work on understanding what that means, what safe means for you, that you can walk through the world with confidence in a safe way, then just naturally your heart's going to open more without effort. So I believe there's a direct ratio or correlation between how safe you feel and how open your heart is. So in a sense, and that's something you can take into your daily life. So what I'm offering is that outside of these sessions, if you're walking in the street, just play the game, add it to your practice of all the billions of thoughts that might be going through your mind, to just say, how safe do I feel right now from 0 to 100? And does that correspond with how open my heart is at this moment? 10 minutes later, ask the same question. Notice that a person's walking towards you. Notice if that changes your level of safety or how open your heart is. Start questioning, what kind of person was that? Well, it was a young person. They seemed really relaxed. That was easy. A larger person came and they had an energy that was a bit more frenetic. I noticed my heart close a little bit. And as they passed, I noticed I can open it more again. So that you begin, because this idea of, remember, it's not an on-off switch, your heart. It's a dimmer switch, and you have the power to constantly be switching that. So I want to just to really see how we can now take, since some of you have been coming on a regular basis, how we can start taking this practice into our daily lives, and that there's no expectation of success or mastery. It's simply always practice, and it requires a certain level of presence, awareness, balance, and flow. And since you're already having a billion thoughts in 1 minute anyway, maybe some of those thoughts could be, how open is my heart right now? How available am I to engage and connect with someone? How triggered am I feeling right now? And I'm choosing to close my heart and make sure I'm safe. I'm doing that not from a reactive way or a fear-based way. I'm doing it out of wisdom, to know that the number one fundamental thing is that I make sure I take care of myself. The more I trust that I can take care of myself, the more confidence I will have to move through the world with my heart open in a way that works for me. So I just wanted to offer those thoughts. Afterwards, after the practice, we can discuss that a little bit if you have things to say on that. So let's start our practice. How does this work again? Tori, any hints? So finding a way to sit where your spine is straight without being rigid. Creating elongation in the spine, creating space in the spine. Also elongating from the back of your neck, tucking your chin in a little bit, and relax your jaw. Relax your belly. Bringing your full attention to your core, your center, the width of 3 fingers below your navel, a third of the way into the body. Center of personal power, impulse, creativity, awareness. From your center, become aware of your contact points, parts of your body that are connecting with what you're sitting on the floor. The more awareness you have of those points, the more you let your nervous system feel that there is something secure and stable under you, the more you can drop in and let yourself be held. Checking in with your heart. How open is your heart at this moment? From 0 to 100. Did it shift from just 2 minutes ago when I asked you to check it? Assessing without judging. And from your center, become aware of your physical body. Assessing and not judging. Listening to the information that your body has for you, the wisdom, informing you of a certain level of comfort or safety. From your center, become aware of your emotional body. Assessing, not judging, giving space for all of you to show up, allowing all feelings to flow. From your center, become aware of your thoughts. Quality of your thoughts. How much attention your thoughts are getting right now. Maintaining connection with your core as you bring awareness to your heart, the middle of your chest, your heart center, where your heart power resides, your highest values, love, respect. And from your core, your center, and your heart, becoming aware of the part of you that connects with something larger than yourself. That on some level could have access at all times to something larger than yourself, for whatever that means for you. Maybe just imagining how far that extends out. Is it within your body? Is it outside of your body? And from that part of you, seeing what your connection is in this moment with something larger than yourself. How do you sense that connection? Is it a feeling? Is it a physical experience? Does that influence your level of safety or open-heartedness? And with more of an awareness of yourself in this present moment, from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. With this awareness of yourself in this present moment, from your center and from your heart, keeping your eyes closed, become aware of your surroundings in all directions. Another way of establishing a sense of safety. And considering, where does your sense of self end and your surroundings begin? Just investigate that. You may not come up with an answer, but it's a good question to explore as you engage and connect with your surroundings. Where did yourself and the surroundings meet? With more of an awareness of yourself and your surroundings in this present moment, from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in. From your center and from your heart, become aware of those in this practice, sharing this practice with you. Various parts of North America, Europe, maybe other parts of the world. How does that influence your open-heartedness or sense of safety? Considering where do you end and where do others begin? Where's that moment where you meet? Allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. With more of an awareness of yourself, your surroundings, and those in this meditation circle, from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Building on this connection with the present moment, from your center and from your heart, becoming aware of all human beings, beginning with those human beings that you would label loved one. You may consider all of those that human beings you considered loved ones, seeing faces or groups of people. You may choose one or two. But as you clarify for yourself who they are, just maybe in your mind's eye, see yourself standing face to face with them in an open, respectful way on both sides. And as you engage with them, establishing how safe do you feel at this moment? And how open is your heart? 0 to 100. And standing face to face from your center and from your heart with those that you would label stranger. Maybe see one person you saw in the supermarket or on TV or in the newspaper. Groups of people. As you stand face to face, how open is your heart at this moment with them? What's your level of safety? How do you know? From your center and from your heart, become aware of those that you would label adversary. As you stand face to face, what happens within your system, your level of safety, open-heartedness? Allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. And just consider as you stand there and as now you engage with human beings, however many there are for you at this moment, loved one, stranger, and adversary, where do you end and where do they begin? That moment where you meet them. And with more of an awareness of yourself, your surroundings, those in this meditation circle, and all human beings, regardless of how you label them as loved one, stranger, or adversary, from your center and from your heart, take a full deep breath into your heart. Taking this experience with you, noticing now from 0 to 100, how open is your heart? Taking all human beings into your heart with you, an aspiration. And with all human beings in your heart, bringing your awareness back to those in this meditation circle, bringing your experience with you and sharing that with a group. Noticing how open your heart is. Taking those in this meditation circle into your heart as you now bring your awareness back to your surroundings. Coming back into your space. Again, establishing how open your heart is. Taking your surroundings with you, bringing it into your heart as you come back in contact with yourself. Noticing how open your heart is. And on some level, how do you meet yourself? Where do you end and where do you begin? Taking this, the efforts of what you've just, the benefits of the efforts of what you've just done in your practice, let that fill your nervous system, your organs, nourishing your organs, vitalizing your cells, allowing the energy to flow into your core battery, filling your battery. And as a way to close this practice, let's take one final breath. And registering how open your heart is, your level of safety. But as you open your eyes, try to see if you can maintain that as you engage with your surroundings and you engage with those on the screen. And just see this idea of what you are now experiencing. Imagine walking through the world with this. And shake it out. Stretch your body a little bit. Look around. So we had a chance to share. We had a chance to give some feedback. We had set our intention. We did our practice. Now we have time for reflection. Anybody like to share?
Yeah, I like to share my experience. I realized there is a complete new group of adversaries, also between my loved ones. I still don't know whether I want to have the vaccine or not. And there are some loved ones I don't tell my discussion in my head, because then I get or I say to them, and I realized it's a part of me that says to me, you're not social when you don't get the vaccine. And I have my own body, that's the other story, and there are a whole lot of stories in my head. So the adversary is in myself. And then I try to stretch my compassion for both meanings. And that's a hell of a job.
Yeah.
And I could even feel, I love the word you said, your heart's not a switch on and off, it's a dimmer. And I had the vision of a balloon. I can make it bigger or smaller just in the way it fits. So I can stretch myself and leave some oxygen out when it's too much. And sometimes I don't have to share my opinion. Maybe I should listen to others. So thank you for this exercise.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mika. There's a lot of wisdom in what you're saying. I like from I'm interpreting what you're saying, I like this idea that, because we've established that the label of loved one, stranger, and adversary is fluid and not concrete, and usually comes from our own side, not from their side. But that can also be created by given circumstances or certain issues, that can even, that how fluid that is. Yeah, thank you.
I think you gave us a really great challenge, or me also a great challenge in really examining, what do I base on my level of openness and safety, and how much like unconscious biases or false or questionable signals, contribute to the level of open-heartedness. So yeah, because I saw myself, just walking down the street, and usually, I'm unconscious in the sense that I'm, somewhere else in my mind. So just, playing with the idea as a stranger, comes across me, and checking into my body, what is my open-heartedness and what level, and if it changes, what is that based on? I think it's like a really great challenge for all of us to examine.
Maybe I can go. For me, I realized today that days are so different in how I can do this practice. Like today was so difficult when, expanding and thinking about other people and embracing. I kind of had a blockage, and I never experienced this before in the group. So I felt a bit guilty not being able to go expanding my heart today. So I guess I need to, be gentle with myself, and I guess with practice, it's gonna come along. But it really was obvious to me that today is not every day is the same.
Dominique, I think that's beautiful. That's a great wisdom. Every day is not the same. And I would say that to consider that the best way you can contribute to a group is not how much you're giving to the group, but how authentic you're being to yourself. So thank you for being authentic to yourself.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I guess I would like to reflect, Joe, on safety and masks. You've gotten me really thinking about the signals of the masks and how that affects me and has for the last year. So I realize that I'm one of those people before this last year who was very open to the world. And then the masks were put on. And I'm realizing that signal of the mask made me feel both safer, but also recognizing risk. And I hadn't really thought about how that signal has affected me going out every day. So for me, outdoors was so important, and yet the barrier of the mask, both for me and for the other, the stranger. Now I'm feeling a different kind of lack of safety as people are becoming more casual about not wearing masks. So the signaling is getting very complicated, and you've called that to my attention in a way I hadn't processed. And I'm very grateful for it, because I need to think about and feel what it is I can do that allows me to be the me I was a year ago, or is it an incremental, and I have to just be patient on the spirit of patience till there's enough to make me feel safe? It's a really interesting question. Thank you.
Beautiful.
I appreciated you're talking about the difference between feeling love and doing love, because I struggle with that. I struggle with the actual sensation inside me. And you said how open your heart is reflective of how safe you feel in the world. And I realize that that safety is between me and me, that if I open my heart, I feel safe with myself. And if I feel safe with myself, I feel safe in the world. I feel safe with people. But if I don't provide that open-heartedness and safety for myself, I can't expand it anywhere. So, and also the idea of energy, of feeling. And 2 weeks ago, that lovely Native woman was speaking, and she talked about vibration, how there's vibration in everything. And I think that that's so important to pay attention to. And I bring that into the practice, experiencing the vibration and the energy of each expansion. So.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for the sharing. I appreciate it. And let's keep that going. Next week, I'm going to start up again with the series I was doing on the 8 ailments and the 8 remedies. I'll do a quick review of those, and then we'll get back into them, as well as continuing to bring in guests. Yeah, and is there are there any other announcements we need to make, Todd? We're actually doing a Respectful Confrontation weekend workshop in the last weekend of April, beginning of May. So if you're interested in that work, please join us. I think we're still doing donations. Are we still doing donations for this? Or yeah, so if you feel compelled from your heart to offer something for the value of what this is for you, please do. All of the donations go towards the Fierce Civility Project, which is, we're doing some really lovely work at the moment, connecting with some lovely organizations. And again, it feels so good to be back and to see you all. Thank you so much for keeping the energy going, all of you. And as always, pass this on to others if you think others might be interested. Have them come in and check it out and join us. Let's close this with a dedication that the energy and that we have created here, the efforts we've put in here, may that truly manifest in the world, that more beings on this planet understand what it is to feel safe in whatever way it means for them. That each one of you and all of your endeavors and who you are as authentic beings, that may that be realized, and may you find satisfaction and fulfillment in that. May all of our endeavors and projects that we're working on, may they flourish and reach and increase the scope of influence to be of more influence to others. And may all beings on this planet have enough fresh water to drink and food to eat. And may all governments and world leaders lead from a place of wisdom and love, as opposed to fear and greed. So thank you all. Let's stay in touch. If you have any questions or comments, send an email. Otherwise, we'll see you again here next week.
Thank you.